Hey, there you are. I put my camera in a different position. It's going to make no difference to me. I'm going to look in the same direction I always do. It's the direction where my control panel is. And you can look wherever it is that you look when I come across your monitor. It may be in the other direction. I don't really know. Today, I'm going to offer up a song that's going to be difficult for me, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it anyway. I love bluegrass music. I'm not good enough to play it on any instrument, except for maybe the drums or possibly a rhythm guitar. But I mean, you give me a banjo, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I know some people make music with it, but that's not what I would be able to do with it. Before I get going on this opening hymn, I'm going to have a little nipper. And wish me luck. If anybody's watching, wish me luck. This is a toughie. This is not the easiest thing that I'll do today. But here we go. My last sun is fading fast. Race is nearly run. My longest trials now have passed. A triumph has begun. Oh, come, angel band. Come and around me stand, oh, bear me away on them snow white wings to my immortal home. Oh, bear me away on them snow white wings to my immortal home. Oh, bear my longing heart to him that bled and died for me, whose blood will now cleanse you from all your sins and bring you that victory. Oh, come, angel band. Come and around me stand, oh, bear me away on them snow white wings to my immortal home. Oh, bear me away on them snowy white wings to my immortal home. I've almost reached my heavenly home. My spirit loudly sings. The holy ones, behold, they come. I hear the noise of wings. Oh, come, angel band. Come and around me stand, oh, bear me away on them snow white wings, immortal home. Oh, bear me away on them snow white wings to my immortal was hard enough for me to stay in the proper key that I started out in and actually sing the whole song, let alone I didn't practice it at all. Just, well, I heard the first part of it. I could have got one in the key of A flat, much more in my range, but it it just wasn't the same. The backup singers on that were really good. I hope I did it justice. Enough about that. I mean, it's just the opening hymn. It's something that's not there to glorify myself. If I wanted to glorify myself, I'd break out the drum kit and guitar to bass, and I'd play the whole songs. I've done it before. It really is a self-satisfying, cathartic thing that makes you feel good about yourself just for the sake of feeling good about yourself. No, this is to set your mind. It's to hopefully set the mood for this short talk that we're going to have. And it's about Auld Lang Syne, AULDLANGSYNE, the days of long gone. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever made a New Year's resolution? Think about it for a second. Have you ever told yourself, this year, I'm going to lose a couple pounds. This year, I'm going to get on an exercise regimen. This year, I'm going to watch what I eat. This year, I'm going to cut out the bacon. This year, I'm going to attend my local church on Sabbath, hopefully. This year, I'm going to do something different. Have you ever done that? Did it work? Did that resolution make you resolute? Did you find iron in your words? The iron of 10 bears in Josie Wales. The iron that keeps a man stiff, though his powder has become wet. Did you find that resolution? I'm going to guess right now, and not to, belittle you or dissuade you, besmirch you in any way. I'm going to guess that you, as well as 99, and there's a point something in there, because not 1%. I'm going to guess that you, as 99 point something percent of the people, were not resolute in your resolution. Things decided in haste are repented of at leisure. We think that we're going to do all of these wonderful things and that it's going to be in the blink of an eye, in the span of just a dream. Everything will change. We'll once again be 17 years old, and the godlike glow will be on our countenance. Our physicality, nothing to worry about, nothing to think about for the vast majority of us. No extra pounds, no aches and pains. It's all going to happen quickly, in the twinkling of an eye, as if by some kind of benign magical spell cast just by the universe alone. It never happens. Be resolute in one thing, my friends, that you will not make a New Year's resolution this year, that you will remember the days of Auld Lang Syne. Those long gone days where we've all made this very mistake before. Decide, if you decide anything, that you'll do what you need to do to improve yourself in small increments. You won't try to move the world overnight. You're not going to change your diet and exercise habits on January 1st or 2nd, whatever the case may be. But that you could do it little by little. These changes that took away that Adonis glow. These changes that stripped of us of our vitality and our youthfulness, in some cases, for every one of us, are due to our own choices and the things that we have put into our minds and into our bodies. Look, if you have a serious addiction problem, if you're seriously overweight, if you have adult onset diabetes, it's not going to be easy, but all of these things are reversible. You didn't get in any of these situations or any of the other myriad of situations I could mention right now overnight. And you will not get out of them overnight. The ogre comes before you now naked. I strip myself bare and I tell you, my persona in the past has said that I've never failed at anything and blah, blah, blah. That's a persona. That's the ogre I present to you. The real preacher man, the real ogre, has failed at many things, but has yet tried. The real ogre, this IRL ogre that I'm trying to give you a glimpse of at this very moment, has fallen. But you could fall 1,000 times and yet rise. I ask you now to rise with me and open your hymnals to Auld Lang Syne, and please sing along if you care to. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of Auld Lang Syne? For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. And here's my hand, my trusty friend, and give a hand, oh thine. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. Everybody. Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. And as much as I wanted to keep that together, boy, my mind was going back to the days of Auld Lang Syne. And I refuse to let my powerful nostalgia that I feel right now ruin this last bit of the message, because I was overwhelmed. And those days of Auld Lang Syne, Nat King Cole played this last month on the record player. Big George milled about in his shop with his son, Little Dusty. And things were much different back then, but I do want to make my final point. So the first one, forget about the New Year's resolutions. This last one, I think this is the most important thing. Next to my final word that I'll ever tell you, my beloved friends, I'll ever tell you. I can't stand the UNICEF commercials. I don't. I watched a dog be rescued on YouTube, and then they just gave me a bunch of suggestions, a dog with brain damage, and I love dogs. Lily Dog is so important to me that I very sinfully and very, very regretfully would choose her over most humans. I've thought it through because I know I have a sinful and evil heart And I try to root those things out. But that sin, that very, very selfish sin that I have of my placing a mere animal over a human being is a fact. Most of us have this in our hearts. Most of us love children and puppy dogs and little kitties, and we don't want to see seals clubbed, and we want to see the furs we wear, they were taken with kindness, with compassion, in a humane way. How often do we think of ourselves in a humane way? How many times do we burden ourselves with the idea of New Year's resolutions and deadlines and commitments, things that we may or may not have to do, but that we have put ourselves in the position that if we're to be men and women worthy of respect, that we must do. Maybe we wouldn't have had to have been in that position, but we all want to be better. We all want to commit to that one more thing that may be the straw that breaks your camel's back. But we just believe with all of our heart that we'll bear up under that last straw. In fact, we may take another or dozen. My beloveds, at this time of the year, when you have spent yourself well on those you love, spend yourself well on you, the one you so often overlook. Spend time in nature. Take a day off when you're not sick. Enjoy a glass of wine at sunrise and another one at sunset. Make no apologies in your inner heart for the things you do that you know are good. Take time to be with your family. No one has ever laid on their deathbed and said, oh, if I had only closed one more deal, if I'd only worked one more day of overtime. But there are legions of people that lay gasping out their last, that thought if I'd only taken care of myself a little more, I would have spent that time with my family. Because I had to convince myself that a strong man would work more than he should. And that sacrifice would be for his family, when what every family wants is their father, their mother, mommy's home, daddy's here. My beloveds, my few, my faithful few, take time out this year for yourself. Care for yourself as you would care for that baby seal or that puppy dog or that little kitten. Love yourself. Feed your inner child with sunrises. Feed your inner child with a walk alone in the woods. Take time. Everyone listening to me can do this thing. No one that will see this video is unable to do it. Even if you're poor in this country, in the countries where you are hearing me now, if you have the ability to hear my voice, you have the ability to rock yourself in your own arms and to say to yourself, you are a human and I love you as I love my fellow man and as I love the animals of the earth, as I love every living thing. I love you, self. And I will do everything in my power to show you, self, that I do love you. I'm going to leave you with this and give you the advice that my blood father, he's been dead these many years. Dino, we'll call him because that's what everybody called him. My Jewish father that didn't raise me, but left me with another man that I call dad. This is the advice he gave me. He said, son, every morning when you wake up, look at yourself in the mirror, right in the eyes, and say, what am I going to do today for me? That sounds a little selfish, a little self-centered, and it is. So is this whole entire last point I've made. But brethren, beloved, if we are not selfish concerning ourselves, no one will be. If we neglect ourselves, everyone else will follow suit. Mark my words. But if we treat our bodies as a temple, if we consider that our brain is sacred and the things that we take into our eyes could change us, if we're careful, if we guard against all of our vulnerable spots, our mouths, our eyes, our ears, we could make it out of this. We could hear the words, "Come home, my good and faithful servant." And in the end, that's what we all want to hear. And remember this, be good to your friends, be good to your family members, be good to your loved ones. Be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology, especially when that thing your friend, your family member, your loved one has done seems to be so huge, you'll never be able to forget about it. Because, constant viewer, my beloved, at a time you think not, your friends, your family members, your loved ones, your life, and your love for your own self will depart from you. Ha ha! All the best to you. I may see you one more time before the new year, but if I don't, all the best to you and yours and everyone you love in this new year. Ha ha!